Have you been wondering what settings you should use on your phone to preserve the battery while you're out on the trail? In this video, we'll go over 10 different things you can do to keep your battery going longer. Hey, Escape here. Here at Escape in the Office, I bring you along on my adventures, and we go over gear, tips, tricks, all things to make your next escape from your office more enjoyable. Let's get into it. So most modern phones already have an excellent battery life compared to older phones. In fact, with the way the technology is progressing, I'm guessing in 10 to 15 years, this guide's going to be completely pointless. However, for now, after a few days of use on the trail, the phone will need to be recharged. Now you can carry an extra battery pack, but there are some settings you can change. So let's start with the first one. And the first one is the easiest one. Put your phone into airplane mode. That cuts out all attempts at it trying to connect to the cell towers. It stops it trying to find a Wi-Fi signal, and it stops trying to connect to Bluetooth. All right, now that that's out of the way, let's move on to a few others. So for number 2, both Android and Apple have a power save mode. So basically what this does is limits what's running on the phone down to essentially just keeping the phone on. So for Android, it's listed as power save mode, and you can find this under settings. Now, because of the different versions of Android out there, when you're under settings, you'll want to look for either battery or device care. Under that, you can find power save mode. For Apple, it's most commonly found under settings, and then battery, and then low power mode. So for number 3, what you're going to want to do is when you go to bed at night, keep your phone with you, in your bag or in the hammock with you, and not laying out with the rest of your gear. All right, so treat it like you do your water filter. Keep it with you and keep it warm so that way the cold doesn't drain the battery. All right, so for number 4, one thing you can do is adjust the screen brightness. Keeping your screen on kills a lot of battery, so if you keep it as dim as possible, this will help preserve the battery. So on a bright sunny day, if you're just trying to take a picture of an overlook, you might have to turn it up a little bit so you can see what you're doing. But once it starts getting darker out at night, you can set it down to the dimmest option, and that'll help preserve your battery. So luckily for both Android and Apple, they're found pretty much in the same spot, which is typically under display. All you want to do is just turn off the auto brightness and set it down as low as you can get it and still be able to see what you're doing. All right, so for number 5, it kind of falls in line with the previous tip, and that is if you have a background that has any kind of motion on it, it kills the battery pretty harshly. Now what you're going to want to do is actually set it to a solid color background, preferably darker in nature, like a black or a dark blue. That way it helps preserve the battery and uses less power. Keep in mind that if you do want to have a colorful picture as your background instead of a moving background, that still will eat up some battery. Solid color is always better. But hey, if you're finding this video helpful, please do hit that like button and let me know what settings do you usually set when you go out on the trail to preserve battery. All right, so for number 6, if you're going out on a long distance trail such as the AT or the PCT, consider uninstalling any apps you're not going to need while you're out there. It's kind of pointless having work-related stuff or apps that may help you remember to do, like a scheduling app that may have notifications. All those notifications will drain your battery. And another good thing to look into is if you have like a Samsung Android, get rid of all the Samsung apps, because half the time we don't use them anyway. They're kind of awful, but they will eat up some battery. Any app you don't use, you might as well just get rid of it, and you can always reinstall when you get home. All right, in the same vein, if you're out on a long distance trail and you prefer to keep an app like Facebook or Snapchat on your phone, those do eat up some of your battery, but Facebook does have a light version app out there. You might want to consider switching to that. It'll eat up a little less battery just in the way it's designed, because it is designed to help you preserve some battery. But Facebook and Snapchat and other apps similar are battery killers. All right, on the flip side of that, for number 7, if there's apps that you don't want to delete, you could consider turning off the notifications for that app. So I have a couple apps that actually remind me of specific things throughout the day, and those work even in airplane mode. I still get the notifications. So if you have an app like that, where even if it's in airplane mode, it's giving you a notification, consider turning it off, especially if you don't need that notification at the time. All right, so for number 8, this one might cost you a little bit of money, but if you have apps that you like to use and they have a free version that's riddled with ads and a paid version that removes the ads, consider getting rid of the free version and going with the paid version. Ads do still play even in airplane mode, because they have some that are downloaded for that purpose, and they will eat up your battery. Getting rid of those ads will save you a little bit of battery power. So for number 9, if you use voice activation, consider turning that off. Now, even if you're not actively using it, leaving that setting on will mean that the phone will constantly be listening for that trigger word. So, hey Siri, or whichever it is. And if you are talking to somebody else on the trail, if they trigger the phone, then it'll start listening and try to follow whatever command. So if you turn it off, that'll just help save some power. All right, so for the last tip here at number 10, consider changing the theme to a darker color. Brighter colors require more power to show what's on screen. If you use a darker color, it'll use a little bit less power. All right, well there we are, 10 quick things to help you conserve battery while you're out on the trail. If you found this video helpful, please do like, comment, subscribe, and then hit that little notification bell so that way YouTube does tell you when I upload the next video. I want to thank you for watching, and do me a favor, escape the office and get outside.